There we go.
Today I'm briefly going to be touching, well initially I was going to be touching on the JSA job safety analysis. Just in an effort, just trying to simplify it so everybody can understand the real world applications of these forms. In the process I might touch on one or two other forms, but we're not going to go too in depth on them because I may not know how to do them properly. As it says, workers are at daily risk of injury in all work environments. Doesn't matter what kind of environment you're working in. You could be high risk in construction, you could be working in a library, in an office. Everybody is exposed to daily risks. Just obviously depends on the nature of the job as to the nature of the risk. Like I said, there's a couple of common forms that are usually used in the workplace. They are SWMS, or Safe Work Method Statement, SOP, which is Standard Operating Procedure, and JSA, which is what we'll be primarily talking about today, which is Job Safety Analysis. First off, the SWMS, or like I said, Safe Work Method Statement. A SWMS is a document that sets out high-risk work being carried out in the workplace, the hazards arising from these duties, and the measures or the controls which are put into place to mitigate the risk, basically. SWMS is generally different from other documents that focus on specific tasks or processes, such as a JSA or an SOP. What this basically means is a SWMS, like I said, is in high risk. So say, as an example, would be a contractor on site doing ad hoc electrical work. Before he actually conducts that work, he's going to stop, excited about it, he's going to work out exactly what the risks are and how to do it. And because it's a one-off job, they're basically done as needed. The second one is SOP, or Safe Operating Procedure, or Standard Operating Procedure, which I only found out about last night. I just thought it was a Safe Operating Procedure, but anyway. A SOP is a set of step-by-step instructions on specific tasks which may be hazardous, the purpose of which is to provide guidance for a particular task so that any qualified person can successfully and safely complete the task. This is a more generic form. SOPs should be detailed on how to accomplish a specific job as a said task or assignment. They're often referred to as work instructions. They don't necessarily focus on safety as much as the safe operation of a piece of equipment or plant. A good example, well what I thought was a good example, would be getting all staff in a Bunnings depot to work through, say, a cardboard compactor SOP with their health and safety representative to ensure that they know how to safely operate that piece of machinery. SOPs should be signed off once completed and understood by anybody using that machinery, so then at least there's validation that they know what they're doing. They can't cut corners and pretend that they didn't. I'm sorry if you well,
yeah,
sorry. That's fine. None of the job safety analysis. The JSA is the oldest and most commonly used form of risk assessment. It details a step-by-step process of how the task is to be safely carried out. And JSAs help you look at the task to consider the safest way to complete it. Sounds like it's saying the same thing twice there, but a JSA should be only used as a basic low-level hazard identification risk assessment tool, which is contradictory to your SWMS, other ends of the scale basically. Okay, so according to WorkSafe Victoria, a job safety analysis, JSA, is a simple means of looking at the work task and considering the safest way to complete it. Sorry. It's a way of becoming aware of the hazards involved in performing the task and taking actions to prevent injury. It can be performed on most duties around most workplaces, from busy construction sites to quiet offices. It's a one-size-fits-most form. This is the standard JSA. This is published by WorkSafe. This is the one that you'll see in most small companies that don't have their own OH&S team or whatever. It's just a generic go-to form. But there are companies that make their own. This is a blank screen, and that's not. So this is a quick template that I threw up a couple of days ago. We're basically just going to do a very quick, like I said, investigation into making coffee. Something really, really simple that everybody can hopefully understand. As I make coffee in a really weird way, I'm not too sure. So at the top, you have all your details, obviously. You're going to have the company name, the site, so when we're in uni, the date, your JSA numbers. They'll be filed so that you can refer to them later on, obviously, if you want to, whatever. Permit to work required, no, usually it's going to be a no. If it's yes, you might have to look at a different risk assessment. The supervisor, so who's going to be in charge. Like I said, I did this one for me making coffee at home, so I ran out of people, so my supervisor is the dog. The person approving is the managing director, otherwise known as my wife. So it's basically just all the information that you're going to need, site-specific information. And fold it up here, like you've seen in the JSO, which I should have pointed out, it's a bit furry, fuzzy. You have the activity, which is the task bar to perform the activity in the sequence that are carried out. So basically your steps, how you're going to do it. And the hazards, the risks or whatever that are associated with each step of that process. The risk control measures, what they're going to put in place to try to mitigate or reduce the risk. And who is responsible. So everybody that, the buck has to stop somewhere. Usually it could be the HSR, could go all the way up to the CEO, or it could be just across the board, every member of staff is responsible. So broke it down as quickly as I could. So we'll just go through it very quickly. So the first task would be to place the appropriate volume of water in the kettle before you boil it. The hazards of which, there's many hazards if you want to get really picky about it, but I'm trying to get through it as quickly as possible. Forgetting to make sure there's actually water in the kettle. It's pretty dumb. But turn the kettle on, the kettle will boil, you can damage the element, you can damage the product, which may lead to further safety risk, using inappropriate equipment. So how to mitigate that would be a sign up. Obviously not at home because you get in trouble. But if it was at work, I'd just have something really big and basic, make sure water in kettle. And the responsibility of that, I think, should be the OH&S manager. Overall. Again, next step, put the kettle back on the countertop. Your hazards, you knock it, you get steam burns, if it's still hot, you put hot water in it for some reason. How to control that would be make sure that the kettle is maybe fixed into position, or you can shorten the length of the lead to make sure that it can't get pulled out. Sits on someone and look, nobody's going to hit it or damage it. It sounds really stupid, and it is, but this is just to show you how this may be applicable. And again, the responsibility might be the manager. Select your cup. The risk, I had struggled for this one, but I thought maybe pull out 2 or 3 cups. I might have done this in the past, I'm not saying, but it might have happened. So staff training, signage on the cupboard door, and make sure nobody double stacks cups. Pretty simple. And again, like I said, with the responsibility, they can start all the way up to the OH&S manager to make sure that everybody's trained. The HSR should be enforcing it. And all members of staff, if they really need to get trained in that, which is pretty bad, they should get signed off on it. Where was I? Select your spoon. You could potentially cut yourself from a knife in the drawer. Easiest way to do that, staff training again. I know it sounds really dumb, but make sure everybody knows to put the knives in the knife section, spoons in the spoon section, and obviously look before you stick your hand in the drawer. Pouring boiling water into the cup. There's a risk of burns, is your hazard. How to control that is you pour the water very slowly and you hold it very close to the cup. Again, if people aren't getting that training. Once they get trained, they sign off. If they burn themselves, they may need to consider another job. Now you retrieve the milk from the fridge and pour the appropriate volume into the cups. So what I came up with was a sprain or strain injury by lifting the cart. It could be fuller than you think, it could be stuck. If you twist, there's a risk of lower back injury. That's what happened to you, isn't it? So how do you mitigate that? You just got to be aware. You got to be aware of the weight of a carton of milk. But this is applicable to other things. It could be a bag of cement. It could be a box in a DHL or whatever. And again, all staff should be aware of that. And finally, ensure the coffee drinks preparation area is clear of equipment, spills, or any other. I think that's meant to say materials. Sorry. It sounds kind of silly. Whenever you're working somewhere, especially in construction, which just happens to be what I've done a lot of, you have to leave the place as good as you find it, because it's just a big no-no as far as safety goes. Everything's got to go back to its own place. Again, look, it's just a quick example. If the areas or the area is dirty or the surface isn't smooth, people can catch their cup, they can slide the kettle, that can spill everywhere. It sounds ridiculous, it could cause electrocution, whatever, but it's the principle of the thing. So again, staff training and appropriate signage if found it's necessary. You see them in all the office kitchens, clean up after yourself or so on and so forth. And again, I think the chain of responsibility starts at the top and goes all the way down to everybody. That was pretty painful. Thank you for bearing with me. This mock JSA is an over-the-top investigation into the very mundane task of making a cup of coffee. And it was not easy to make that as entertaining as it was. Hopefully by examining a simple task like you just did, we can all be familiar and can understand, we are familiar with, we can actually understand the relevance of the process in the workplace or even at home. I don't think anybody's going to injure themselves as badly as I suggested. You could make them a cup of coffee, but it's the application. So there's, if you don't have time, everybody's got their own forms and processes and stuff like that, but in the real world, you don't necessarily have the time to stand back, fill in a form, and keep your job at the same time, you know? So, a good habit to get into is to actually stop before you commence a task, and just basically just assess what the risks are, how you're going to travel. You know, like safe manual handling, and I know somebody's touching on that today, but it tells you to plan the process of work, which is basically exactly what this is. You stop, make sure you're engaging your brain before you act, which that's usually where I trip up. Secondly, like I said, look, identify hazards and risks, assess what damage that could cause, and then obviously take steps to avoid that, and then hopefully safely complete the task. So, activity time. Alright. I was going to print out a few forms and stuff, but I figured, well, I don't have a printer. So I was thinking maybe very quickly, I'm not going to write on the board either, but we could do a very simple task, say changing a light bulb. Alright, so if somebody could come up with the first activity that you need to do while changing a light bulb.
Picking your light.
Pardon?
Picking your light.
Yeah, you want to get the right type of light. So what's the hazard of picking the wrong type of light?
If you grab it too hard, you could break your hand on the glass.
That one? Yeah, you got to make sure that the thing's turned off as well, so there's a risk of electrocution. So your hazard could be electrocution, your risk could be turning it off, your hazard could be burns. How you mitigate that would be wait 5 or 10 minutes before you touch the road, basically. Who's responsible? Well, probably the person conducting the work, I'd assume. And the next activity would be. Yeah.
Yep.
So you got to make
so
sure
you can get to the height.
Exactly. And the hazard of that could
You
be
could slip or trip off the ladder, so you're falling from heights.
bingo bango. So how would you mitigate that? How would you reduce the risk?
Take your time, so slow down, there's no rush to change the light glow. Making sure you're not stepping on the top tread of the ladder.
Yep.
And yeah, just when you're coming down off the ladder, come down slowly, one step at a time, one tread at a time. And you are responsible for your own safety.
Yeah, make sure you got the right ladder, step ladder.
Yeah.
If it's a tall light, make sure there's somebody holding it. And you get responsibility as well. So we can see how we run through the sequence, obviously. So you change the light bulb, put the new one in, turn the light on, bingo bango, remove the ladder, make sure everything's cleared, safe, and then the original light bulb, for example, gets safely discarded so it doesn't cause any future risk. So yes, thank you very much. That's been my presentation on